Welcome to Beyond Ocean and Maine, MCM's news magazine program. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Kayla Reese.
After serving as the superintendent of the Marshfield Public School District for 9 years, Jeff Granatino has decided to retire.
Granatino sat down with MCM to give us a retrospective of his time here as superintendent.
Well, as you talk to folks who are retiring, there's never a right time or a wrong time. You just kind of feel what's best for you. And I've been in this business now since 1990. I've held a number of different roles, from classroom teacher to athletic director to a substitute originally to a coach to a principal, a vice principal, assistant superintendent, even a transportation director for 2 years in Milton. And I just felt it was best now. I've had some health issues the last couple of years that I'm doing well with now, but I put it in perspective, and I just felt it was best for me personally as well as for my family to be able to spend time with them and enjoy those years. I think once I made the announcement, it wasn't as if I just started looking for that last day. We actually had so many things going on, especially last spring, right after the announcement, and we had 2 principals to hire. We were doing a strategic plan for the district. So there was plenty to keep us busy as a group and me as an individual. Although I will say, once the hiring process for my successor, Dr. Sullivan, took place this past fall and early winter, and they named him on December 19th, things have been a little quick. January's going by a little quicker than typically. And when I came here, I was thrilled to be here. I'd been 5 years as superintendent in Canton. I figured, 4 to 5 years is kind of a nice spread at a district, but things have gone so well here as far as the relationship with the staff, with the leadership team, with the school committee. Again, that's the biggest part for a superintendent, the relationship with the school committee. And I've been blessed with great people who think alike in many ways and are not afraid to share their differences as well. And it's been a really great working relationship. And being with the people in Marshfield has been spectacular. So I know it's not the norm to be 9 years, but I think things have gone so well. It was 9 and it could have been a bunch more as well. It is amazing. I don't say that just for a soundbite. It is a wonderful community. When I moved here, or when I came here in 2015, I knew the history of Marshfield. I'm a South Shore guy. I grew up in Hingham. I live in Scituate. And I just was excited about the opportunity. It's a bigger community than I had been working in the past, but it was really that sense of community engagement that was already here before I got here, as far as their involvement in the schools. They'd just gone through the big high school project, and that brought out a lot of folks, that might not have worked together in the past, that showed they cared greatly about the students in the schools, and I was excited for that. And it has not diminished one bit since I've been here, for the 9 years I've been here. They are out there to support us. They are out there to work with us. They're out there to ask questions, whether it's our parents, whether it's our town leaders, whether it's our staff, and that's what makes our district great. There's so many voices that are heard, that are part of the process, and again, the relationships with so many of the aspects of the town itself, town hall, the police and fire departments, DPW. We interact regularly, and I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of, that we've been able to really have strong relationships across the board at all town levels. There's a couple snapshots that I look back as favorite memories. First and foremost, We Are Marshfield project, seeing hundreds of high school students and 40, 50, 60 parents and guardians helping out around the community, and the pride that they have. Going to the plays and going to the musicals, and seeing concerts, whether it's at the middle school or high school, or even down to the Governor Winslow or the Daniel Webster holiday concerts. They just put a smile on your face. Seeing the entire community at Gillette this fall was a great memory, a great snapshot of our town. To cheer on the football team, but you saw our dance team and our cheerleaders and our band and thousands of Marshfield residents. That was a joy. But I guess there's 2 memories that stick out in my mind, and they're not specific classroom memories, but they do tie into our students. In that, my first year here is at the Veterans Day celebration, Veterans Day parade, and it was pouring rain. This was back in 2015, and I was new, and we had started our no homework Veterans Day weekend program. And so I had urged everybody to go to the parade and to the ceremony at Veterans Park. So I was down there, and it was raining, like I said, but to see the dozens and dozens and hundreds of citizens and students marching in the parade and coming down into the park and seeing our band perform, hearing our choral singers, sing the anthem, and then just looking at so many students who were there, standing at attention, giving due respect, it was pouring rain. And that's when it really hit me, like, this is a special community that has a lot of great town pride and pride in the people that make up our community. And I guess the other one ties back to our COVID days, in that, in the first couple months when we were out of school and again, no real playbook and we were trying to figure it out, the amount of people that came forward to help, whether it was Jim Bonnell over at the Boys and Girls Club and Ms. Johnson over at the food pantry, dozens and dozens of teachers. One of the things that people didn't realize, with no school, a lot of the kids in our district rely on the school for their breakfast in the morning, their lunches in the afternoon. So we were able to work with our food department, with the food pantry, with Mr. Bonnell and the Boys and Girls Club, and again, dozens and dozens of staff. And we started, I think we were out that Friday, and by Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week, we were delivering food across the district to dozens and dozens of families that needed that and students that needed that, even though we were out of school. And it was very, very impressive. To get to first day in a full day kindergarten, I think is something that the committee made as a priority early on in my time here, and I embraced it along with them. I'm gonna miss the kids. I'm gonna miss the way our staff brings out the most in our students. I've seen so many talented educators in my years here, and it's pretty awe-inspiring. And whether they're a first-year teacher or a 30-year veteran, they bring so much to the table. So not having that daily interaction, the team that I have here, in the central office, from my assistant Joni Przerski to Dr. Martin, Mr. Miller, Ms. Scalaro, all the support folks here, I've been blessed. I mean, again, any accomplishment we have as a district is not Jeff Granatino's accomplishment. It is a team effort all the way, and I've been blessed to have a team that's just second to none, and I will miss that. I don't know if I'm important enough in the whole big picture to have a quote-unquote legacy attached to me, but I think if people want to look back and think of who I was and what I did, that I was hardworking, that I was a good communicator and a good listener, that I set out to do certain things and I worked really hard to try to accomplish those goals, that I was always approachable. I said from the very get-go that my door was always open, and whether it was for staff, students, parents, I've stuck by that, and I've kept the focus on meeting the needs of all of our students, regardless of what their background is, what their needs are. All means all is something we've talked about since day one, and it's an important part of what I've tried to do here with our team, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
After operating for more than a year, Some Small Show has just now been able to produce its first full-length stage play.
MCM was lucky enough to talk with both the founders and actors within the group about their organization and what they provide to the community.
Some Small Show Theater is a group of actors, all from Marshfield. We are growing in our numbers. We are a theater group that started officially a year ago, but about a year and a half ago we did our first test run.
Well, our mission is to give back to the community, and we do that in multiple ways. We say we're a theater that makes an impact, and theaters all over the place make an impact by putting shows on and providing entertainment, oftentimes telling a story. And we do that too, but it goes beyond that. We're really trying to bring some different ideas and culture to Marshfield. And of course, we actually raise money for some local charities and organizations.
The idea of it started way back in 2016, 2017. As I worked at North Community Church as part of their youth program, I ran an intergenerational theater group. I always knew that I wanted to have an adult theater group, and so it kind of evolved from that. After 2020, things just changed. The church was supportive of this idea that I had of forming a space for adults to come and perform. And Liam and I, as he was part of that group, we spread the word to our friends, some of our friends who hadn't acted, some of them had. We both kind of brought in this original group of people that were our friends and interested in performing, and we did our test run. And from there, I don't think any of us imagined that we would be doing a full length right now.
A lot of the fellow actors in this group, our children did theater together in middle school and before that, and we all just kind of were talking about our past and how we all kind of seem to have some sort of involvement with theater. And Angela had this great idea to start some small show, and she invited us to get involved, and I'd been looking for some way to get involved creatively, and this just fit the mold perfectly.
I've always enjoyed acting, especially when I was a lot younger, back in grammar school, middle school, high school. I was performing in all sorts of different plays and musicals and things like that, and you know, then life goes on and I moved away from it. And so then when Angela got us together and said, hey, would you have any interest in putting together a company and performing for the Marshfield community? We're like, yeah, that's great. Sign me up, I'm in. The next thing you know, 3 years later, we're performing to sold out houses, and it's great.
So we perform in the parish house of the North Community Church. They've been a great supporter of us. They sponsored us in our earliest experiments, if you will, and just have really provided us the space to perform.
How we are able to contribute financially to local nonprofits is by taking half of our ticket sales. So every ticket that we sell, we take 50% of to put back into the community where it is needed. We have done Sowing Seeds twice. We've done Carolina Hill. Our very first test run was to Cliff Rogers Library. The other half goes back to the rights for the plays, for the sets, for everything that it takes to run a production.
Some Small Show has grown. We, for our first showcases, each time would do a group of small, anywhere between 10 and 20 minute shows and performances. We've done, personally, I got to be a police officer in a barber shop. I got to be a hippie once. And I've really got to take on so many different characters. And I think any of the actors here could tell you that they've had the same experience where you get to show up and initially we got these small plays where for 10 minutes we're someone funny or crazy.
The play that we are putting on now is our first full-length play. It's called Almost Maine by John Cariani. And it's a play that is about falling in and out of love. It's very relatable. It's about human experience, things that I think anybody in the audience can relate to one or more of the scenes. It's very good writing. It makes you laugh. It could make you cry. There are moments where you just really want to know what's going to happen next.
The memorable instances I like to talk about actually happen when we're not on stage together, because we are really close and we have built really strong friendships, and even outside of this organization we do a lot of fun things together and support one another, and we have had a lot of fun doing murder mystery events and karaoke, and we just really enjoy each other as people. The most fulfilling part absolutely has to be the fact that we give back to the Marshfield community. We have picked several organizations that are very deserving, and I know this is our second time giving back to Sowing Seeds, but that makes me really proud to be a part of the organization.
It comes back to that idea that we're using our creative talents and we're giving back to the community. It's really wonderful that the town of Marshfield has an opportunity to sort of have now a theater for the community.
And the other thing that's great about it is it allows us to engage audiences in a smaller space. It's not a big theater where there's some anonymity. I mean, we're here, we're performing, the folks are from our community, they know us, we know them. After the show, we all get out and talk to each other right in this space.
I think the opportunity to sort of stretch our creative muscles together is something that's great. It's different than what my normal day is like. You know, being a husband and a father and working a full-time job, this really is a very different stretch from what my normal day is like. And I really enjoy that outlet. I really enjoy that opportunity. So personally, I find a lot of fulfillment in that. But being able to do it with my friends and really sort of an incredibly talented group of people. At the end of rehearsal, at the end of a performance, it's just really proud of what we do. It's a talent. It is personally, the opportunity to get on stage and perform in front of people. It's something that I really enjoy doing. But to know that my performance, my interpretation of my characters resonates with people to the point where they tell me that I'm doing a good job, it feels really good. It's like completes the cycle.
As of right now, the way we're engaging the community is by offering people a place locally to come see a good show. We have had 2 performances of Almost Maine already, And we are getting a lot of really great feedback from people just in the community, at the grocery store, at work. I think we're bringing culture, a little more culture. I mean, Marshfield has so many wonderful artists and musicians, and I think theater was kind of missing from that live theater. I think that we are able to offer the community a place to come, let go of your everyday lives, your everyday worries, and come and experience something and feel something that's outside of your everyday lives, and that you can go home and you can think about and you can talk about and relate to.
The Kurt Giessler Foundation, an organization that funds education projects that are initiated by students, just held their annual Frozen Pilgrim Road Race at the Marshfield High School for the first time.
Leading figures within the foundation told us about its overall functions and what it has brought to the students who benefit from it.
The full title is the Kurt Giessler Foundation for Youth Achievement, and it's a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 organization, and we award financial grants to kids and young adults ages 12 through 20 to pursue whatever educational passion projects they have outside of the classroom. Kurt Giessler was a friend of mine. He passed away in 2012, and he had some time to reflect on what he wanted his legacy to be. And he wrote a mission statement that said, I think it began with, "There is no greater determinant in one's quality of life than their education." By education, he didn't just mean what you learn in the classroom, it's what you learn outside of the classroom, what you pursue to learn in your own time. And so that's really what he was going for with these grants.
Kurt Giessler, who the foundation is founded after, in his memory, had passed at age 31. He had really health issues throughout his entire life. And because of his health issues, was really not able to focus on athletics. In his life, he really focused on academics, education. And in doing so, his main focuses were in the areas of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And after graduating college, really came back home locally and was a teacher at Hanover High School, where he taught in the engineering department. And the foundation really fits with what he did, really trying to help students succeed, whether in or out of the classroom. In order to fulfill the mission, we raise funds throughout the year by holding various fundraisers. And on the flip side, we then try to award those funds to youth aged 12 through 21 via two different awards. The first is an ambition grant for youth that are looking to pursue a project, as well as achievement awards for efforts that youth have already achieved.
It can't be for school credit, but it can be school inspired. So if it's something that they learned about in school, or maybe it was a science fair project that they want to continue, then that's great. You just can't use it for your next year's science project. And that gets into Kurt's original envisioning of this foundation, where it has to be, to some degree, outside of school and outside of your curriculum. So you can apply either by mail, or we have an online submission system, so just a database online where you fill out your information, you upload a few documents like your letter of intent where you explain what the grant does, your budget, so a detailed line item budget on how you're going to spend everything, 2 letters of recommendation, and there are consent forms if you're under 18, or you get your parents' consent, that type of thing. If it's a prize for achievement nomination, then it's very similar, but it's just submitting a letter where you explain what you think this person has done, why they're worthy of recognition.
Since the foundation was funded, we've handed out about $75,000 in grants and awards for youth, some of them local, others around the country. Past recipients who have either been awarded the Ambition Grant or the Achievement Award have also turned around and given donations back to the foundation, really to continue helping the goals of the foundation and youth achievement. So the foundation has really supported youth projects that probably wouldn't have been funded otherwise. And I can recall times when I was younger and didn't have a job to raise my own funds, and could have used some funding for some ideas that I had at the time. So I think it's a great opportunity to really let children, teenagers, even high schoolers be able to pursue something that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do otherwise.
Prior to the pandemic, we had an annual golf tournament, which turned out pretty well. It was usually successful. We had good weather for the most part over the years. We also, since I believe 2013, we've been doing a frozen pilgrim race in either Plymouth or Marshfield, depending on the year. Kurt's family has helped out to run that logistically. In addition to the golf tournaments and the frozen pilgrim race, we also frequently had booths at both the Hanover Festival and the Plymouth Waterfront Festival as well.
I mean, we're here really to honor Kurt and what he would have done if he were still with us today. And for us to be able to continue his goals and his dreams and be able to help others, it feels really good. I'm proud of quite a lot about the foundation. Kurt was a great person. He had very great ideals, and we're really hoping to continue those ideals in his honor with the foundation. Kurt would certainly be proud of where the foundation is today.
I'm proud of all of the submissions that have come forward, and they are generally very impressive. And so awarding those out and hearing back on how the kids are doing it's very rewarding. This is a volunteer organization, so it takes time out of your work-life balance. So it's been nice to see positive feedback, so that kind of reminds you why we're doing it in the first place. And so I think that the foundation provides a financial opportunity for pretty much anyone in that age range. They have a hobby or a cause or an idea that they wish to pursue, that they want to take to the next level, then we provide that for them. I'd also like to point out that the foundation doesn't profit off of anybody's ideas, or we're not looking to take their secret invention or anything. It's strictly just, here's the money, go accomplish your grant.
The Alden House, a museum in Duxbury that is operated by the Alden Kindred of America, is currently looking for new board members to help run it.
Both the executive director and the president of the board gave us insight into the house's history as well as its current functions within the community.
So the Alden House Historic Site is the family homestead of Mayflower passengers John and Priscilla Alden and generations of their descendants. So it is now a museum that is owned and operated by the Alden Kindred of America.
So the mission of the Alden Kindred is to protect the history of the Alden, John and Priscilla Mullins Alden family, and to keep its history alive, to keep Kindred members involved in joining it and supporting it. And a couple of years ago, namely 10 years ago, we changed our membership requirements. Most every pilgrim organization has a strict membership for strictly lineage people, and we changed that. We want people who support pilgrim history and to be able to join the Alden Kindred.
So the Aldens were passengers on the Mayflower ship that came to Plymouth in 1620 and helped settle this country. John Alden was a young man. He was about age 21, and he was the ship's cooper. He made the barrels for food storage and beverages. Priscilla was a teenage girl who was traveling with her family. She and John married within a few years, and they eventually had 10 children. About 69 grandchildren, if you can imagine that, and there are over 1 million descendants today. So the Alden House was the family homestead of Mayflower passengers. They had about 100 acres here, a lot of farmland, and an earlier house site. So the next generation decided, like many do, that they wanted to expand and rebuild. So they built the house that still stands today around the turn of the 17th century. So the house became a museum when it was purchased by the Alden Kindred of America from the family in 1907. Family continued to live here for several years, and then by the 1920s, they decided to transform it into a museum, and people started coming right away. They built a tea room to serve guests food, and it's been a museum for over 100 years.
It serves as a meeting place for people who are connected to this family. Anytime I come here when the place is open, it's amazing. People come from out of the country, other states, etc. It's a destination. They're looking for it. They're looking to see where their ancestors lived and how they lived. And so it's our mission to do that. Paul Clemente was a longtime volunteer here. He was a member of the Alden family, obviously. He was on the board. He was the finance chairman. I think at one time he was the treasurer. He recently passed away, but Paul will be fondly remembered. And, you know, a space on the board exists that needs to be filled. And I am looking to the next generation.
So the Alden House has a very active museum program. It is open for tours during the season from about May to November, and it offers a good program of education programs and events. We do third grade tours for Duxbury and several other communities. We do homeschool programs, and we have some signature events that we offer annually. Like our Speak for Thyself event, which honors women in the community for their leadership, and also our Haunted House event in October, which has certainly become a destination for many people in the South Shore. And we have a Liberty Pole Day event, which celebrates the Revolutionary War history of this area and what happened here at the Alden House. Some of my favorite experiences with some of the local community are the children who will come back, and sometimes bringing grandparents or parents in tow, and they want to share the history of the house with family members who haven't visited before. Maybe they've come on a field trip or they've done another program. I always so much enjoy, just hearing what they have to share about it.
The visitors that come, because they're looking to come to the Alden House, it's an amazing feeling. And I get the same feeling again and again when I'm with people, because a lot of times it's the first time they've seen it. They might be from England, or they might be from California or South America. And it's like, wow, this is where they stood. This is where they were.
To receive the feedback, especially if it's from the children, it's very rewarding. It's just one of those things that one of the reasons why we're in this business, right? We want to excite people about history. A lot of times people will remember things that they've done. Some way they've interacted with a story or a historical experience, and that stays with them their whole lives. What the house brings to the community, I think, is just a really important aspect of their heritage. This is one of the few, there may be 3 others, pilgrim family sites that still exist. And I think that part of that history is really valued. When people come here, the chance to walk in the footsteps, as we say, or be on the grounds where history happened is very compelling to people.
This concludes this month's edition of Beyond Ocean and Maine. Tune in next month. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Kayla Reese.
Thank you very much for watching.